Hi everybody, take a look at the truck I just got. This is a 1997 Dodge 3/4 ton with a diesel engine and automatic transmission. I bought it to use as a tow vehicle for my vintage Shasta camper trailer, which I might finish someday. Overall, I think it's a solid rig, but there are a few issues that I need to look into. When I start it up cold in the morning, it's extremely sluggish. It doesn't want to get out of its own way. It can barely climb my driveway, which isn't even very steep. It also has a tendency to stall if I'm into the accelerator a little bit and immediately release, and it idles a little lower than I think it should. I'm not a diesel mechanic, but I'm sensing perhaps a fuel starvation issue, and to hopefully gain some insight to what's causing these symptoms, I'm going to check the fuel pressure today. I want to take my reading after the fuel filter, which is right here, and before the injector pump over here. There are two spots where I could possibly tap in. One is down here at the inlet for the high pressure pump, and the other one, which I'm going to utilize today, is the outlet on top of the fuel filter housing. Before I take anything apart, I want to clean this area really well, because any dirt that gets in right here will go directly to the injector pump, and that's bad. Okay, that's clean. Now I need two tools, a 10mm wrench and a piece of electrical tape. I'll use the wrench to take out the bleeder screw on the top of this fitting. And the piece of electrical tape to immediately cover the hole. Next, I'll take this little guy inside, and I need to find a bolt that has the same diameter and threads as this one, but with a length of about 1.5 inches. This is a very common 6mm bolt. If you've ever worked on Japanese motorcycles, you've seen about 1 million of them, and luckily I have a few to choose from. This should do nicely. If you're not positive that you have the right size bolt, just grab a nut and run it down both the original part and your selection to make sure. Okay, the next step is a little bit tedious, and this is where a drill press would really shine. We need to drill down through this bolt. I'm going to use a 7/64 inch drill bit. I think it's small enough that it won't compromise the integrity of the bolt when I drill through it, but large enough that hopefully it won't break once I get going. So here we go. Keep it straight, keep it straight. All right, that should be enough. And it looks like I was able to drill down about 1.25 inches, so I'll mark the bolt just shy of the maximum depth and cut it off. And here's the finished hollow bolt. It looks like I veered off course here a little bit, but it should still be okay. The next thing I want to do is thoroughly clean this, because if dirt is bad for an injector pump, metal shavings would probably be catastrophic. Okay, the hard part is done, but the aardvark is not done. It's still got a few minutes left on the broiler. Didn't you know Saturday was wild game night? To finish up our little project here, we need a nut to screw on to the end of the adapter pipe, a short piece of rubber tubing to slip on the end, with a trusty tie wire clamp, and lastly, a gauge that goes up to at least 30 pounds and is fitted with some kind of hose barb. And this, my friends, is ready to go. Now, I was able to build this contraption entirely out of parts that I found around the shop. But if you did have to purchase all of this stuff, it probably wouldn't cost more than $20, and these are all common components available at any hardware store or Depot Lowe's home. So let's see if it works. Back over here at the truck now, I can take the piece of tape off of the fuel filter fitting, then screw in my homemade adapter, and tighten down the lock nut. So the gauge is installed. Now I'll go inside the truck and see if it'll start. I'm a little bit worried because of all the air in this line, but I'll try it out and see what happens. And this is where I see just how good my batteries really are. Next time. All right, it's running. I don't see any fuel spewing out the front. Let's check out that gauge. It looks like we're dripping a little bit of diesel down here, so it's probably not a good idea to do this job in your living room.
It's going psycho.
Well, that won't work. This thing looked more like a time machine than a fuel pressure gauge. To tame down those pulsations, which I believe are normal and caused by the lift pump, I'll use some vice grips to pinch the rubber hose, then start the engine and slowly loosen the jaws until the gauge reads pressure. Okay, I'll try it out now with my pliers modification. I'm looking for at least 17 psi at idle and at least 25 psi at 2500 RPM. Look at that! The vice grips worked. When I was adjusting the jaws of the pliers, I tried to find a sweet spot where I could just see the needle of the gauge start to fluctuate. This told me there was enough diesel flowing through the restriction to give an accurate reading. If I use this device again, I'll probably replace the vice grips with a small needle valve, which will much more accurately meter the flow of fuel. But overall, I'm happy with the results. The fuel pressure was pretty good too. Now I just need to find out why my engine isn't running as well as it should, but we'll deal with that another time. Thanks for watching.